This video is brought to you by SoccerPro.com. Be sure to visit SoccerPro.com for all the latest soccer gear at everyday low prices with no membership fees. Don't forget to use coupon code SR4U at checkout for $10 off a $75 purchase, plus free shipping within the US. Hey guys, Josh from SoccerReviewsForYou.com, and I had a lot of requests from that last video I made. I'll leave an annotation right here. It's kind of like a first-person view of me juggling, just screwing around with the ball a little bit. And I had a lot of requests from there to kind of do some kind of tutorial. So I had an idea. A lot of you guys were asking me a lot of questions regarding juggling. So I decided that I was going to make kind of a little bit of a juggling tutorial for beginners, or even people that already know how to juggle. You might find some tips in here that you may not have known. So we'll get right to it, and from here on, just leave me a comment down below what you want to see as far as tutorials go, as far as striking the ball, dribbling, anything like that. Leave me a comment down below, and I'd be happy to make these tutorial videos. I think they're going to be a real cool thing. Make sure you guys like the video if you like to see this kind of thing. It really helps me know if you guys are responding well to it. And just like I said, leave a comment down below, let me know what you think, and we'll go from here. Alright guys, well the first thing when you're juggling that can help you improve your juggling, or even if you're trying to do little tricks, or even for beginners, the ball is a very, very important aspect when you're juggling. Obviously if you can't juggle, the ball really doesn't matter, but having a certain type of ball is definitely going to help you. The first thing that you're going to want when you're actually juggling is you're going to want a ball that has not too much air in it. You want it to have, not necessarily be flat, but not be completely full of air. See this ball right here? It's very full of air. There's not much give to it even when I push down on it. Whereas this other ball has a little bit of give to it. You can see that I can push it in a fair amount with pressure, of course. It's like I said, it's not a flat ball, but it's just not completely full of air like you would want for basically a match ball. The second thing that you're going to want is you're going to want to make sure that the ball has a little bit of outside padding to it. So like this ball again has this kind of very hard synthetic leather thing paneling to it, so there's very little padding. This ball here has a little bit of extra padding to it. You can see when I push it down, it kind of squishes together. You can see that extra little layer of padding on there, and that's just going to help with the ball overall consistency. When you're kicking the ball straight up off of your foot, when the ball's a little bit softer, it's going to kind of mush into your foot a little bit, and it's going to allow for a larger sweet spot, so the ball's more likely to come straight back up rather than off to the side or something, which is going to make juggling a lot harder, and it just requires more precision when the ball has more air. The third thing that you're going to want is a ball that's slightly lighter than average. So this ball has about an average weight, where this ball's a little bit lighter, so it's going to allow for a little bit easier juggling, and overall you're going to have an easier time with the ball. The second thing that you want to know about when you're starting juggling is your shoes. I got a lot of questions asking how big of an impact do my shoes have on my ability to juggle. A lot of people kind of messaging me saying that I feel like my shoes aren't helping me. The whole thing about your shoes is really, like anything with soccer, it's a skill-based thing. So if you don't have the skill to juggle the ball, changing your shoes is not going to make you have the skill to juggle the ball. Obviously each shoe has its own different feel to it, and as long as you're comfortable with that particular shoe, you're going to be just fine juggling. Obviously the more comfortable you are in your shoes, probably the easier juggling will feel, but definitely I wouldn't say that your shoes are going to allow you to juggle better or worse. It's just a matter of being comfortable in your shoes. Obviously here I'm wearing a pair of Adidas Copa Mundials, and that kind of begs the question again, leather versus synthetic as far as feel when juggling goes. Leather being a more cushioned feel, with synthetic being closer to barefoot. Again, that's more of a preference thing. I'm not too picky either or. I find the main thing for me is just having a shoe that has very little kind of obstruction on the top of the shoe. It's just kind of a clean surface, and that for me is the best kind of thing to juggle with. But that's just my opinion. Like I said guys, as long as you're comfortable with the shoes on your feet, your ability to juggle is not going to be hurt. Alright, before you even start juggling the ball, the first thing that you need to do is find the sweet spot on your foot. And the sweet spot is essentially this one spot on your foot that when you kick the ball right there, you know it's going to go exactly straight up, which is what you want when you're juggling, because essentially all you're doing is kicking the ball straight up repeatedly, trying to be consistent. Obviously if you're consistent, the ball stays in the air. If you're not, you're going to drop the ball. And I find that the best way to find the sweet spot on your foot is just by stalling the ball. So if you take your stronger foot and you just grab the ball and you hold it right there, generally right there where the ball is sitting, that's going to be your sweet spot. You can see that from the front, and I'll just show you guys from the side real quick. If you just stall it right there, that's generally your sweet spot. So right on top of the foot right there, that's where you want to make contact with the ball. Obviously your foot's going to be a little bit further out like this, and that's exactly where you want to make contact with the ball. If you make contact right there, the ball's going to go straight back up, and you're going to be able to kick it again and again, and hopefully keep juggling the ball, keeping it off of the ground. Alright guys, one of the major things that's going to help improve your juggling ability is to just be loose when you're juggling the ball. A lot of people, especially beginners, they tend to tighten up really tight and they keep their legs straight, and they're just really tense when they're juggling, and that makes it very difficult because if you actually do screw up, which you're very likely to do so, juggling's not an easy skill by any means, it's very difficult to recover simply because you're not ready to move. Just stay loose when you're juggling, relax, keep your knees bent a little bit, stay on your toes so you just have that ability to move around. Just watch me kind of stay a little bit loose when I'm juggling from the front and from the side, guys. And that's pretty much it. Alright guys, the next thing to be aware of when you're juggling is where you're actually making contact with the ball when you're kicking it. A lot of people, they like to make, when you first start juggling, they make contact with the ball really high and they're kicking their legs way up like this, and it's really difficult. When you're juggling, you want to keep your feet low. They shouldn't be more than a couple of inches off the ground. Just watch how low my feet go. They're not moving very much, so it's kind of a low effort thing to keep the ball juggling. All you're really concentrating on is keeping the ball consistent, kicking it consistently, and making sure it goes straight back up. Again, from the side, just keep your feet nice and low, and you should be able to keep the ball under control. Another thing to be aware of when you're trying to juggle the ball is the actual kicking of the ball. It's not so much of a kick rather than a lift. When you're actually, I'm going to do it without the ball here, you're actually you're flicking your ankle ever so slightly, so your toes kind of doing that little bit of a flick up on your ankle, and then it's more of a lift of your leg rather than a physical kick of the ball. So it kind of looks like this motion. I'll do it with the ball so you guys can see it. Very light motion. Just be gentle with the ball, and it's like I said, it's more of a lift rather than a kick. And if you can kind of do it good with one foot at a time, your stronger foot, you should be able to repeat the motion with both feet. And it's pretty much just that simple. Practice makes perfect, obviously. Alright guys, the last thing to be aware of when you're juggling is just to make sure that you're concentrating and looking down at the ball, making contact with your foot every single kick of the ball. You just want to make sure that you're making as good of a contact with the ball, as straight of a contact with the ball as possible, and just try and juggle consistently. The longer you can keep that going, the longer you're going to juggle for. A lot of people kind of ask, how do you juggle so long? How do you do all this kind of thing? It's really all about concentration. Keep your eyes on the ball, because I guarantee you that the second you look away, you're most likely going to miskick the ball and screw up your juggle and most likely drop the ball. So like I said, just concentrate on the ball, and really it's just practice makes perfect. But right now I'm going to show you guys a clip of me in first person of me juggling, so you're going to be able to see exactly what I'm looking at, and this should give you a pretty good idea of what kind of concentration you should have when you're juggling. I'm just going to be screwing around a little bit. It's kind of a more entertaining clip, so just enjoy the rest of the video, guys, and here we go. Well, that's pretty much it, guys, for my juggling tutorial. Like I said, if you guys like this kind of video, leave me a like. Let me know in the comments of other kind of tutorials you want to see. I enjoy making this kind of thing, and I think that a lot of you guys like to see it. So like I said, just give me a suggestion of what you want to see next, and I'll definitely get to making that as soon as possible. And as always, guys, thanks for watching.